Hello and welcome to the very first episode of our brand new podcast, The Amazing Nerdiverse. My name is Jeff Grants, and with me as always is
Steven Tukert.
You're the Han Solo to my Chewbacca.
So I get to be Han?
Yeah, I was gonna say you're the Chewbacca to my Han Solo, but I felt that was a little
Because you have a beard?
Yeah, I'm more Wookiee-like than you are.
I guess.
Labor Day was this past Monday.
Okay.
So
I believe you.
That's officially the end of the summer season,
right?
So
I guess.
I figured, we'd
it's still hot out though. To me, it's still summer when it's really hot outside.
Yeah.
So it's going to be summer until Christmas. Because
Yeah.
we're in Georgia.
Because it doesn't get super cold until, February, right?
Yeah. I don't know.
I can never keep track. I'm like, oh, it's cold now. I don't even know what day it is.
What do you mean you can't keep track?
I don't keep track of when the weather's what in Georgia.
You go outside, though.
Not a lot. Hence the podcast and all the stuff we can talk about on it. All the things that make up the Amazing Nerdiverse. And on that note, see what I did there? I got us back on track. All right.
Professional.
So before we get started on our podcast, because we're going to talk about the 2016 summer movies, and we're going to talk a little bit about Dragon Con, which was this past weekend, Labor Day weekend in Atlanta, Georgia.
First of all, I want to say that we didn't steal the name from the Nerdist.
We didn't steal Nerdiverse from the Nerdist.
Right.
Yeah, the origins of the name The Amazing Nerdiverse go back to...
What, 2007, 2008?
I think 2007.
2007?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If you want to set the stage for that, where that came about?
Grants and I had been friends in high school, and my uncle had started... What do you call it?
It was like an independent studio, like a film production
for Comcast.
TV production. Yeah, we were doing local cable access.
It was kind of going to be what this is, but like a show.
Yeah, it was the idea that the show was called The Amazing Nerdiverse, and the cool thing about it was that I thought and we'll probably talk to more people that worked with us back then. I think next week we might have someone that worked with us. Maybe at that time we'll go a little bit more into the depths of our origin story and stuff. Right. But the idea of it was kind of like 30 Rock meets like
an untalented
yeah. that is underlined.
30 Rock.
It was like the behind the scenes as well as the actual subject matter of the show. It was kind of like a Tosh .0 type thing.
So
but
am I the Tina Fey in that example?
No, you're the Daniel Tosh in this weird mashup example.
Okay.
But it was like at various points green screen, or there was a set that we made, and basically you would talk about geek related movie news and stuff like that, and then me and Kaminsky, a friend of ours, Jeff Kaminsky, me and him were the writers, the head writers, and we played ourselves, and it was a combination of
writers,
news.
But you were the only two.
Yeah.
So by default.
Even now, I'm working on my resume. Because this can't go well.
I think it's gone well.
Yeah, it is.
I guess.
Yeah.
No one's told us to shut up yet.
All right, so yeah, that's what the name came from. And your uncle was
Roman Weaver.
Roman Weaver, yeah. He was the guy that kind of started this ball and everything, and that's where we met Jeff Kaminsky, our partner, and we became... Yeah, and since then we've been making independent films and stuff like that, and we'll talk a little bit more about that at a later date, but we just wanted to set the stage with it. Also, before we get moving on with our topics today...
T-shirts go on sale.
We got sponsors yet?
No, I wish we could sell T-shirts already.
We're not 10 minutes into our first episode, and you're already talking merch.
So?
What do you think? What do you want the T-shirt to look like?
Me.
Just your face?
Yeah. Me giving a thumbs up. Or a thumbs down.
Well, that's 2 T-shirts right there.
That's 2 already.
God, it's just rolling off the top of the head.
I'm talking T-shirts, lunch boxes, chapstick,
beer koozies.
Let's not get crazy.
Floaty keychains, like the kinds that you see at boat supply stores. Like you drop your keys in the water, they'll float. They'll float, and your head will be floating right on the water and holding up someone's keys. You like that idea?
So summer movies.
Okay. Oh yeah. And before we move on to summer movies and Dragon Con, I wanted to give a quick shout out and thanks to Bert Cole, who made all the music that you heard at the beginning. And he made a lot of music for us for the podcast. The music that we were using was made for... This is not our first podcast, by the way. This is our third podcast.
Is it? Yeah, I guess, yeah.
We did one, Credgecast, which is Credge Productions, was our first production company. Credge is jerk backwards. So we did about 13 episodes of that, and then we also did... Geek Smash. We did the Geek Smash podcast for the website Geek Smash, which I was the editor-in-chief for a while there. And now this is our third one, The Amazing Nerdiverse. And
hopefully we'll get past 13 episodes.
That's for some reason, 13 is the number that we can't get past. And it looks like today is number 1.
And already we're struggling to stay afloat.
Yes. We need those keychains that I was talking about.
That's why, because we didn't have t-shirts.
Yeah.
Or keychains.
I think that's the order it's working. You need to get merch and then start doing the podcast. Because once you got the merch, you're already committed to it.
Right. And I don't want a warehouse full of t-shirts that I can't move. So the summer movies.
All right. Before we go to summer movies, let's talk about Dragon Con.
Okay.
This past weekend, Labor Day weekend, Atlanta, Georgia.
That place
Dragon Con 2016.
Packed.
It's nuts,
Goodness.
man.
Like, I went for the first time...
You were there all weekend.
Yes.
What day did you get in?
Thursday night, we just got our badges.
Yeah, Thursday night's the first night of the con for the most part, but nothing really official's going on. It's people just picking up their badges and hanging out and
Is
some
there stuff going
cosplayers. I don't think there's any panels or anything like that or any of the vendors room or the artist alley or any of that stuff is open yet. But people mostly just pick up their stuff, and that's when people get in and get situated for the weekend, get ready for the weekend. You see some cosplayers on a Thursday. I actually haven't been to a Thursday in the last couple of years, so I don't know how it is now. I'm sure it's more crowded because it's more and more people every year showing up. Did you happen to get a head count? Like, did you hear what they...
I heard that it was 75,000.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And we saw it, like, on the Dragon Con TV... I think it was like 2008.
Yeah.
Someone had said at the time it was like 35,000.
Yeah, 2008. Was that the first year we went?
I can't remember if it was... Maybe?
It was either 2008 or 2009.
Yeah, something like that.
I counted. This was my 6th year.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, Kaminsky and them are up in like the 15s.
I thought 20.
Really?
Yeah.
God, they're up there. They've been going for so many years. But yeah, 6 years. And this year, unfortunately, I only got to go on Saturday.
Right.
And so that's... My whole experience was jammed into one day, and that was kind of nuts.
It's hard to move around.
Yeah. What did you end up doing this year?
What did we do? You went to
a bunch of panels, didn't you?
Went to some.
Okay, which ones did you hit?
Gillian Anderson, Scully.
Nice. Yeah, that was my biggest disappointment, was that I was only there Saturday.
Oh, I thought you were about to say.
And she was only... No. I didn't get to go, is the disappointing part. I was only going to be there Saturday. She was there Sunday and Monday. And that was heartbreaking because I really wanted to meet her and maybe attend a panel or two. But because I just finished binging all of X-Files. It took me like 3 years. It took forever. But I finally, like days before Dragon Con, finished season 10. We finally got a 10th season of X-Files. And I was bummed out that I didn't get to see. So you got to see the panel. How was that?
She's really entertaining.
Was it just like a one-person thing, or do they have a moderator?
Yeah. She has a moderator, and like immediately started with the questions.
Yeah.
I can't remember like specific ones. There were some that were like, one guy brought up an audiobook she had done years ago.
Like she did the voice, or like it was
like
her book. She wrote the book.
No, she didn't write a book. I think.
She had just like recorded a voice or read the narration for an audiobook.
Yeah. But, like, nobody knew what he was talking about. So she was like, all right, moving along.
All right. What other panels did you go to?
I'm trying to remember. Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog.
Oh, really? I never made it to that.
It was fun. Because I had gone to it was at Dragon Con, like a Rocky Horror Picture one.
Yeah.
I did not care for it whatsoever.
Yeah.
Because, number one, I don't like that movie.
I've never seen it, actually.
You're not missing anything.
Yeah,
it's.
I know it's like a cult.
Oh, the joke is that it's
thing.
awful, but it's awful. Like I don't like it. It's stupid.
You don't like stuff that the whole point of it is it's awful.
I mean, not that awful.
I don't know. I've never seen it, so I can't
It's
make a call. I know
unwatchable.
people love it.
Like, everyone's giving the main guy a hard time because he doesn't want to get sexually assaulted.
Is that the plot?
That's what I gathered
That's the
from
synopsis?
it. Pretty much, that's what I gathered from it.
I think I might need to check it out now.
Go
you sold
ahead.
me. You sold a ticket. But Dr. Horrible, Dr. Horrible is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Standing
and
in
they
line,
have...
though, there was a guy behind me that just started singing.
Oh, God, that guy.
I was dressed as Captain America, and
Yeah.
I was ready to just smash him with my shield.
People who are watching this episode on YouTube will see you as Captain America, because
Yeah, that costume.
the image we're using for this episode is you as Captain America.
I need to make some modifications to that suit because it's really hot. It does not ventilate.
What modification? Just pop some holes in it?
Well, not just
Some
like...
airflow?
Yeah.
You gotta do what the... I wonder if there's any of these like major cosplayers at these conventions and stuff that do what they do on the movies where they have those suits that can run coolant through the... You know, like they
There
put
have to
ice
be.
water through
Yeah,
the tubes and stuff. Like,
Yeah, I didn't have that.
well, I don't know many cosplayers that do. Like, 2 hours into it, everyone's like, oh, I bet you they looked awesome a couple hours ago.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because it's hot
It is.
when you're moving around with 75,000 people.
Oh my god.
Because what are the panels you go to before I get to my experience? 'Cause
Legends
it's
of
short.
Tomorrow.
Legends of Tomorrow, they talk about the new season and stuff.
Uh,
Who all was there from Legends? It was
Vandal Savage, Hawk Girl, Hawkman. Oh, what's his name?
White Canary.
She wasn't there. She wasn't at the one I went to.
Oh, she was there. I saw her in the Walk of Fame.
Yeah.
So I did see her there.
Rip Hunter.
Nice. Yeah, Arthur Darvill, also Doctor Who fame.
I cannot remember any of these people's real names.
I can remember most because when I was writing for Geek Smash, I wrote a lot of articles about these shows. Like, I mean, the CW shows were the majority of the stuff I wrote about, because
Right.
I love what CW is doing with the DC universe right now. I want that to be the
I
movie
need to get
universe.
caught up on Supergirl, because if she's coming to CW, I need to...
You're not caught up?
Nope.
It's out on DVD and Blu-ray now.
Say what? Are they sponsoring
They're supposed
us?
to be. Yeah, that's our first sponsor, is Supergirl. on the CW. Mondays at 8.
Is it?
It is Mondays at 8.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, all the
So you
shows
got
are on at 8. and
Supergirl
it's
Monday.
Yeah,
Flash
Supergirl Monday.
Tuesday.
This isn't our fall TV preview yet, but
Okay.
we'll give you a sneak peek preview of the preview.
That we're about to talk about.
Mondays, Supergirl. Tuesdays, Flash. Wednesdays, Arrow. And Thursdays, Legends of Tomorrow. You saw the Legends of Tomorrow panel. What did they talk about? Was it mostly them talking? It was. They didn't have anybody from this coming season. They just had the people from last season.
Right. They didn't
And
really
some
talk,
of them will carry over, of course.
They didn't talk a whole lot about...
What's coming up?
Right. They basically
That's
just
the
asked...
weird thing about these smaller conventions, that they don't really treat it like Comic-Con.
Right. They
where
didn't get
they're-
into a
it's
lot
all
of
about what's
details.
coming. It's mostly like, hey, let's celebrate what we did last time.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Which is okay, because I really like Legends of Tomorrow. I mean, it's not my favorite of the CW shows, but I really enjoyed what they're doing with it.
Mm-hmm.
And what's coming, like all the JSA and stuff like that. They talk anything about that?
No.
The one thing I want to know is Jay Garrick going to be part of this Justice
I
Society?
don't see why not.
I don't know why they wouldn't, but again, like, we haven't seen anything confirming that yet.
If they're smart.
I don't know if they're even from what it looks like. Jay Garrick's from a different Earth,
I remember
and Justice Society is from a different time period.
season finale of Flash. Jay Garrick, I believe, said, "I'm from what you would call Earth 3.
Yes,
Where is Supergirl from?
another Earth. Like, they
Like
haven't.
4?
I guess
She can't be from Earth 2.
unless she's not from Earth 2, because that's where the other Flash
And
is.
if she was from Earth 3, she would have known about Jay Garrick. Because you can't just not know.
I mean, I guess you can, maybe, but like,
Because when
I'm still like, there's been so few episodes of Supergirl. This is not the TV episode. We're
Do you
so
want-
excited about the TV shows, we're completely skipping
Well,
over the movies. But
do you
yeah,
want to like slam the brakes and then take a
we'll
hard...
come back to this in a couple episodes when we talk about the fall TV shows.
Stay tuned.
Okay. So any other big panels you had up?
I'm trying to remember. I feel like there was, but I can't remember.
Did you go to the puppet show?
No.
Did Jerry go to the puppet show? Our friend Jerry and Don? Because me and Jerry went one year, and it was awesome.
There was a free arcade.
Yeah,
You
there
went
was
to?
in the middle of the vendor. I didn't even get to go to that. We because my whole experience was we got there a little late. It was about 10 or 11 o'clock or something. We had to wait in line for our badges. That was like an hour. It took forever. We were wrapped all the way around the building. Then the first thing we wanted to do is hit up the vendor room.
Right.
We wanted to, because, you know, we had money.
Get some of that sweet merch.
It. Like, I was just completely under the impression that the second I got there, I was going to spend all the money in my pocket.
Right.
Because that's like, you know, all the stuff I love. All the,
Yeah.
you know, if you look around.
All in 5 buildings.
Yeah. It's insane. And it was like 3 floors of just all this stuff. And I bought a shirt.
Well, you know,
It took 5 hours to get through the whole building. And I bought a shirt. And I was disappointed.
I think it was last year when I would get on an elevator and there was like another Captain America.
Yeah.
I was disappointed that none of them would say, before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
Oh my God. Tell me you did that this year.
I didn't.
Ah, you asshole.
I know. I should have. I was so disappointed that no one did it. And then when I was dressed as him, I didn't do it.
Do you watch Community?
No.
They had a great, in season 6, yeah, it was the last season, they had a great Captain America elevator kind of homage in the show, yeah, with the Dean Pelton taking everyone out.
Who was Cap? Him?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was one of the paintball episodes. Love that show. Anyway, back to TV again. Jesus. Yeah, so it was hours, and I didn't really get to do a whole lot. I had fun. It's always
I had fun.
It's
We
always
just
fun
didn't
being
do
around
a
there, but
whole lot.
yeah, I mean, it took me like 3 years to go to my first panel at Dragon Con. It's so overwhelming.
Yeah. We ended up watching some of them on the Dragon Con TV.
Yeah, that's always cool. I wonder, did they put that up online anywhere? Like, they really should do that.
They should do a lot of things.
Yeah, like Comic-Con has a network now. It's Comic-Con HQ. It's like $5 a month or something like that, and they put all the panels and all that stuff on there. It's actually really cool.
It's not a bad idea.
And they have original shows and stuff. Mark Hamill's got one coming up. It's going to be him going around and checking out people's collections.
Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
I hear he was in The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Did you see that movie this summer?
Yeah. No.
Wait,
because
that was December.
Well. All right. Moving on from Dragon Con, let's talk about the summer movies.
Do you want to talk about Force Awakens?
I mean, we're already pushing back from summer far enough. I mean, Force Awakens was awesome. It wasn't a summer 2016 movie. It wasn't even a 2016 movie.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone knows that was awesome. Let's start with, but I actually wanted to not start right at summer. I wanted to go back a little bit, a hair, not as far back as Force Awakens, but I did want to start. Let's talk about Deadpool first.
Okay.
What did you think of Deadpool?
I liked it. I thought it was really funny.
Yeah. I think Deadpool is probably my favorite film of the year.
Really?
One of top 3 for sure.
Top 3 or 4?
No, top 3, comma, for sure.
It's like top 3, but definitely number 4 for sure.
No, like they just nailed it, and they like it's a movie that had been kind of sitting on the back burner for a long time. They finally got to make it. I was blown away with Colossus. Like, I love Colossus. I really like
Colossus.
They finally got it right. And in a movie universe where they had done him terribly several times.
I really don't understand why they would... I could do a whole episode on why the X-Men movies have let me down.
We're going to talk about another X-Men movie in a second. And Deadpool is certainly the better of the 2 X-Men movies that came out this year.
Mm-hmm.
We're only going to talk about the movies we've seen this year. And I've seen a lot more of these than you have, but we'll touch on everyone that either one of us have seen.
Okay.
But Deadpool, before we move on, let's give Deadpool a rating. I think I give it a 9.5 out of 10. I think, I mean, it's hard to say that there's anything to take away from it.
Uh-huh.
It's not a perfect movie, but it's damn close. Like,
I'd give it an 8.
Give it an 8?
I really liked it. I can't give it a 10. I don't know why, but I can't. Yeah, but I did really enjoy it.
Yeah, it's weird. It's kind of
the storyline was really simple,
and that was great.
That's all I need. I don't need a. You know what it didn't have that I appreciate?
What?
It didn't have like at the end of the movie, like a giant beam shooting up from like the city into the clouds that he needs to stop.
We'll talk about some of these other movies a little later.
Like,
it was just a simple revenge story. It was a simple love story. It was all like a very streamlined and been like jumping around, and none of it threw me out of the story. It was awesome.
It's really funny.
It's a movie I can just sit down and watch at any time.
Yeah.
The entire movie. Like some movies, like, you know, the other movies we'll hit on this, I'll probably pop on like certain moments and scenes.
Uh-huh.
Like, let's jump ahead. I have a couple other movies on here, but you didn't see Zootopia.
I did not.
All right, I liked Zootopia. That was a fun Disney.
I probably will at some point because I believe my niece has it, and I'll
Yeah.
probably borrow it from her.
Yeah, I rented it on iTunes. I just felt like
She's
watching
4.
it. Yeah. All right. Yeah, Zootopia. I really liked it. I gave it an 8.5 out of 10.
Okay.
Okay, now moving on to a movie we can actually talk about: Batman versus Superman.
Yep.
Dawn of Justice. What did you think? This is probably up there like my top, 2, 3 most anticipated movies of the year.
This is really difficult for me because I want to like it a lot more than I liked it.
Yeah.
I didn't love it.
Same here. Yeah, I liked it. I didn't love it. I wanted to like it a lot more.
Hands down, Ben Affleck was the best part of it.
Yeah. And I remember the day I found out that he got cast,
Mm-hmm.
I came home and was looking at it. I was like, wait, what?
I did. The first thing I did was I liked him, the casting choice,
Yeah.
but I immediately went, everyone is going to hate him.
Oh, yeah. And the same here. Like, that just came so far out of left field. I never saw that coming.
Because I assumed
And
he
then
never
I
wanted
started
to do another superhero thing again.
Yeah, I mean, after Daredevil,
Everyone was up
he
his
always
ass about
was
Daredevil.
vocal about
Right.
not wanting to do another. But he's a huge Batman fan,
Yeah.
and it worked out. I think, and I was never a guy that hated Ben Affleck. Anyway,
No.
I'm a big Kevin Smith fan, and he always put Ben Affleck in all his movies, and I love Ben Affleck in Kevin Smith movies. There were some movies I did not love Ben Affleck in, but he's gotten a lot better lately as far as acting goes, and he's a great director, so that's working out for them as far as the future of the DC extended universe.
Yeah.
Because now they got him as a writer and director for their solo Batman movie,
Mm-hmm.
which they recently revealed. He revealed that Deathstroke is going to be in it. He showed that video.
So
of
is that
Deathstroke.
that clip?
That clip, he tweeted that clip.
But like that's actually what he's gonna look like.
I guess that it
Or
looked
is that
like
just
a
like a
camera
test?
test. It looked like a camera test, but
Looks
I
pretty
mean,
good.
it looked like Deathstroke, man. And today, the day we're recording this is Thursday the 8th. 8th, right?
I think it's the 9th. Hang on. It's the 8th.
It's the 8th. Okay, I was
well.
right. I was right all along. Yeah, so today they just announced that Joe Manganiello from True Blood, from Magic Mike.
There it is.
That's the one you know him from?
That's it.
The
Spider-Man.
the one I know him from, yes, is the first Spider-Man movie. He was Flash Thompson. And they don't make Flash Thompson like they used to, Like,
What do you mean?
well, like the Amazing Spider-Man, there was a Flash Thompson in those movies, but he wasn't.
Technically,
Yeah, I mean, I guess that kid was all right. But in the new movie, Spider-Man: Homecoming, it doesn't look like they're
who's gonna be the new Flash Thompson?
God, what was he was in the I don't have it in front of me here. The
Is it Elijah Wood?
was he from the Grand Budapest Hotel?
I don't know.
It doesn't seem like he's gonna be like his bully like he was in previous movies.
So what is he just gonna be like? An
I think he's
internet
just gonna be a
troll?
friend of his. I think he's gonna be like a Harry Osborn for this version of Spider-Man,
Okay.
or
When you find who's playing Flash Thompson,
okay, I was right.
you have my permission.
I was right. He was what was the character's name? Was it Zero or something like that in the Grand Budapest Hotel? It was Zero. And he was also in Dope, which I haven't seen. And his name is Tony Revolori.
Tony Robbins?
Tony Ravioli.
Tony Ravioli.
No, Tony Revolori. He's playing Flash Thompson. This kid right here, you see?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem. I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen any of the footage yet. I wasn't at
Yeah.
Comic-Con. They showed some footage, but
Did they?
they showed. Yeah, you didn't hear any about the footage they showed?
No.
Yeah, they showed a little bit of him in high school, and then something happens. And he has to jet
Spider-Man
off
something?
to Spider-Man something. Shoot webs at something. I don't know, but yeah, I think that there was like some teases of the Vulture and everything, and
Who's the Vulture?
I don't know for sure if they've confirmed it, but I mean, everyone seems to think that Michael Keaton's the
I hope
Vulture.
so.
Michael Keaton's definitely in the movie, but yeah, on IMDb here, it's not showing if he
Is he
was
gonna be vulturing it up?
confirmed as. Yeah, I mean, from Batman to Birdman to Vulture.
He's got a thing
mean-
with birds.
Yeah, I like that casting. They're also gonna have the Shocker. Have you heard about that?
I like that idea. I like them using smaller villains rather
Yeah.
than just starting off with Green Goblin or Dr. Octopus.
Yeah, and I also I like the use of villains in these comic book movies. Everyone always complains about too many characters in a comic book movie.
Uh-huh.
I think it can be done well.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be. I think, as terrible as the movie was, I think Amazing Spider-Man 2 had some okay ideas in it as far as like the way they handled just as far as the amount of screen time he had and where he was placed in the movie, the Rhino.
Uh-huh.
I don't necessarily think the performance and the look or any of the actual details of the Rhino's appearance were good, but just the idea of you can have these villains that like maybe you bookend a movie, you see them at the beginning, and then at the end they come back as a bigger threat. You can do that with these smaller characters, and it seems like what they're doing with the Shocker in this movie. Bit. Yeah, and the Shocker is like a
you can smack him around,
D-level
throw
character.
him in jail.
Yeah,
he can be like your Scarecrow in the
exactly. I loved how they,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I loved how they used him in the sequels to that. Like, that's what I want in my DC movies.
That's like a thing that I don't like that they do in movies. Is like when they kill the villain. It's like, well, I guess.
Yeah, like
I like the idea of him being able to come back.
That's the only thing I hated about The Dark Knight, was that they killed Two-Face at the end of it.
Yeah.
They kept the Joker alive, which I loved how they did that, and him hanging upside down and that whole speech he gives. We can go on doing this forever and everything. I mean, it was unfortunate and sad that he died, but like, I could have seen that continuing. You know, their relationship in the movies continue to go, and like that's what I want to see is this character that lives in a timeline. Like, I don't want to just be one movie at a time and they just kind of loosely feel like sequels. I want like, establish a universe, establish a storyline for these characters.
The Dark Knight trilogy, if you watch them back to back, it's a lot better than taking time in between them. Yeah. But like, if you watch them like one, it's like, why is he?
Yeah, we'll talk about Batman again because that's what we were on. We were on Batman vs Superman before we got started on all this.
I forgot all about that. We're talking about Batman Superman. Okay.
No, but like you're right. Like the problem I had with the Nolan movies, I love the first two. The only thing I didn't like about the second one was that they killed Two-Face at the end of it, and that Batman got blamed for it and had to be on the run. That was really weird.
Didn't bother me as much.
Yeah, but the problem is
because you get that cool line from. They're not the one we deserve, but the one we... I forget how you say it.
Yeah. Yeah, there was stuff in it that worked.
The one... Wait. He's not the hero...
He's not the hero...
we need, but he's the one we... I don't know. It's... I always flip-flop it around.
It's the one we got.
It's the one we got.
He's the Batman we got. There's something like that.
Well, not the one we need or deserve, but he's the one we got.
Well, now the one we got is Ben Affleck, and I...
Love it.
I loved everything about that. Yeah, he was a little bit
rougher. That costume is fresh, son.
Yes, my favorite... Idiot. My favorite cinematic Batman to date, costume-wise, and performance-wise, and like, I love it. Just there was some decisions made that make me think that Zack Snyder doesn't 100% get the comic book characters. He gets visuals. Uh-huh. He's really great with visuals. Like, there's some awesome stuff, like just that shot of Batman jumping on the side of the building before grappling away. Yeah. And during the Doomsday fight. And, and like, all that stuff, like...
What if... Do you remember the scene where, like, what's his face? Two main characters. I cannot...
Superman?
Yes.
Jesus.
I promise I'm a comic book fan. Anyway, Batman basically crashes into Superman, and he does that whole little bit, tell me, do you bleed? Yeah. What if Superman answered him right then? He's like, yeah. Batman's like, oh, well,
I guess I'll be seeing that blood a little later when we fight.
Do you want to just fight right now?
No. I don't got my mech suit.
No, not yet.
Speaking like doing an impression, I love the voice, the modulated voice of it, and like that's something that they did on Arrow.
Well,
and
I think it's because for the amount of people making fun of Christian Bale doing it,
you can't do that again.
No, you can't.
I hate it. That was I really disliked it. It got worse as the movies went on. It got more.
I think he was doing it on purpose to tell everyone to shut up.
It became a parody of itself after that.
Well, I'm not the one wearing hockey pads. I'm not in hockey pants.
That's the line that everyone goes to, isn't it? The hockey pads.
I'm not wearing hockey pads.
It just, the look on his face when he did it was so dumb.
Where's the trigger? There's a train.
Great start to the podcast.
It is. It's great. We are only like
On a roll.
We're only 2 movies into this summer. All right. Before we move on, I did want to talk about while we're on the subject of Batman vs Superman. The movie might not have been perfect. There's a lot of stuff that I really didn't like Lex Luthor. It was okay. The thing that saved it for me is when he said that LexCorp was named after his father, which means his father's name is Lex Luthor too.
Okay.
So maybe we might be seeing his father as the Lex Luthor we all know, and just the Jesse Eisenberg version is his son, which in the comics he did have a son.
Okay.
He had a son like Alexander Luthor with like red hair and everything.
Yeah, but are they gonna be trying to like kill off what's his face and then bring in the Bryan Cranston that we all wanted?
Maybe.
Because
if they did, everyone would be like, "All right, yeah, let's do this." Good.
Finally.
But like, I mean, it was way more annoying in the commercials. I got used to it by the time I saw the movie, but I'm not gonna go as far as saying I loved it or anything.
The red capes are coming. The red
yeah,
capes are coming.
It was just a really
Stop talking that
odd
way.
choice.
All right, look, it's great that you made a choice.
Yeah,
but how about you just relax?
But
I will say
Doomsday...
for a movie called Batman vs Superman, I would have liked if they had fought longer than 7.5 minutes.
Yeah, they probably... I think they probably should have had some kind of altercation earlier. Maybe even extend that moment where he hits him with a car a little more.
Like hit him again?
What?
Like hit him, like he reverses and then...
he just keeps ramming into him. And Superman just standing there, cross arms, just standing firmly planted, and he's just smashing over and over into him.
This is how I fight.
So here's what I see the big problem. Okay, the Superman and Batman are the two equations of this movie. Batman was great. What'd you think about Superman?
I wish he wouldn't mope around so much.
I think I finally put my finger on it. The problem I have with Zack Snyder's Superman.
What?
He doesn't talk to anybody.
Yeah.
He doesn't talk to anyone. He has very few lines. He's hardly ever talking. He's always dark and brooding. So many of Superman's problems would be solved if he just talked to someone. Like, you know, the whole, like, at the beginning of the movie, all the news stories.
Sounds like
and stuff like that.
You know, pull the curtain back a little bit.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Like all these news stories,
problems,
and like they're blaming him for all those deaths in the Middle East and all that stuff.
Why didn't he just show up and tell everyone what happened?
I didn't do that. Yeah, like he doesn't stand up for himself. He's supposed to defend the world. He can't even stand up for himself. Like if he would just talk to people, if like it was like an hour and a half into the movie before Batman and Superman even met or anything.
Was it really?
I don't know. No, I'm not. Don't hold me to that. But like, that moment where he hits him with the car is pretty late into the game.
Yeah.
For a Batman versus, I mean, there's moments like the beginning, with the end scene of the invasion from Man of Steel.
Yeah.
And I loved all that from Bruce Wayne's point of view of that whole thing.
I like that.
Yeah, but yeah. I don't know if he would just talk to people. What about Wonder Woman?
I loved her theme.
The music?
Yeah, like, that makes me want to fight somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, God, I love that. Like, I really liked Wonder Woman in it.
Her costume bothers me.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
It's not practical. Why is she wearing heels?
She wearing heels?
I think so.
I don't know. That's... I mean, that goes back... That's an argument that
she
we
looks
have for
like
70
I could beat
years.
her up.
Yeah, I don't know. I like her as that. I mean, she's not the best actress. I think looks wise, she's pretty good. But like, I don't know about like some of the delivery on some of her lines. She has a pretty thick accent, and it doesn't doesn't sound natural.
Right.
Sometimes, but overall, I liked it. And there was the one moment that really sold me on Wonder Woman is when she gets knocked back,
and then she does that smile thing.
She does that smile, grabs her sword.
Was cool.
Yeah, that was great. Like her flying into action and like using the lasso, all that stuff was great. I really liked the trailer for the new Wonder Woman, so I'm looking forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the Dawn of Justice part of Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice.
I feel like I'm about to say what you were going to say.
Huh.
I wish that the Justice League wasn't announced or wasn't in an email.
Yeah, that wasn't exactly how I was expecting those cameos to manifest themselves in the movie.
Like, if you... Let's say everything is the same, but at the end when Batman and Wonder Woman are talking at the funeral,
Yeah.
If Batman's like, oh, we need to go search for others.
If that's
and then
when,
you show that, like,
yeah.
in their, like, why couldn't you just do that instead of in an email?
Yeah, that's how I expected it to happen in the movie.
Like, oh, we need to go search for others to help us.
And then it was a Justice League.jpg attachment in an email that he opened, and
so Lex Luthor came up with their names and
their logos. Yeah, he had a design team working on those.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, that was the logical leap that I couldn't really follow. Didn't really like that. But as far as the glimpses we got of the other Justice League members, what did you think? Start with the Flash. Who also had another little Easter egg kind of cameo earlier in the film with
Bruce.
Yeah. What'd you think about that? Like, that was the first time we saw the Flash.
I thought it was cool.
It seems very reminiscent of, like, the Injustice video game.
Yeah.
I mean, he was saying you were right about him.
Uh-huh.
He was saying, like, Lois is the key. And then in that Nightmare Batman sequence thing, he said Lois, she was his everything or whatever.
Why didn't he just write him a note to throw to him? Because you couldn't understand a damn thing he was saying. Because in the trailer for Justice League, he says, "Can I keep this Batarang?"
Yeah.
So, let's say in the future, something goes wrong, he should have just taken a Batarang and whipped it to him with a note attached.
Yeah.
Saying, hey, I only had a few seconds to come through, but here's a detailed description of how you can fix everything that's about to happen.
Or maybe he should have just sent him an email.
Yeah. Wait, would that work going from...
What? You
can't time travel in an email.
I get that. I was just kidding. I was making a joke based on how they revealed the Justice League.
Yeah, but you don't know how to do this.
Hey, we could have just brushed past that. It was just a simple joke.
No, I think we need to bring this to a screeching halt and point out your flaws.
We need to start from the beginning. We need to start over.
Hello, and welcome to the first episode of The Amazing Nerd.
All right. Okay, moving on from Flash. And then that beat in the surveillance footage of him stopping a robbery.
I didn't like his look.
Well, the long hair and the shaggy. That's just what the actor looked like, and I don't.
Oh, you don't. Oh, you didn't have time that morning to.
No. What I'm saying is, I don't know why they didn't cut his hair, because they have done that since, and he's got shorter hair and stuff in the Justice League trailer and everything.
Yeah.
So I don't know why. I mean, maybe that was him waking up out of the coma.
Yeah, but he looked pretty with the powers, because he knew what to do once he saw Homeboy try.
I have no idea. Like, it was a weird decision.
He kind of gave like a little smirk too. He looked around like, I'm about to super speed.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a couple weeks out of the coma he started figuring it out, and
I don't know.
It's like the montage part of the movie where he's getting all this stuff figured out before everything turns to shit. But I don't know. Anyway, so moving on, Aquaman.
Loved it.
It wasn't what I expected, just him hanging out in a coral reef by himself. But
he was exploring the Titanic.
Yeah, and
looking for jewelry.
Also, he wouldn't have to hold his breath, and you could kind of tell. You kind of see his cheeks puffed a little bit.
Give what's his face, cut him some slack. There.
Yeah,
he's not actually Aquaman.
I know that, but I'm saying they're gonna have to figure that out for the Aquaman movie. How to make it look like he's underwater and not just holding his breath underwater.
Listen, Jason, you're going to be Aquaman, so we're going to need you to learn how to breathe underwater.
I don't know if we have to,
Can't you just use CGI?
I don't know if we have to give you some gills behind your ears like in Waterworld or something.
Get you some plastic surgery. We're going to have to try to figure this thing out, all right?
Yeah, I don't know. They're going to figure... James Wan, that's all on him. They're dumping that on him to figure that out. One last thing, Cyborg.
Made me really sad.
Made you really sad? Why?
Because it's just like his chest and his face.
Yeah.
And like half an arm left.
Yeah. A lot of people didn't like that moment.
Well, it's really depressing.
Yeah, well, like, I think a lot of people didn't like it because it looked really kind of cheesy and hokey, whatever. Because if I'm being honest, the Cyborg cameo is the closest to being exactly what I expected.
Really?
Of his cameo. Yeah.
The dad trying to figure it out.
His dad, the scientist at Star Labs, trying to figure out what's going on. The mother box technology. Yeah. Attaching it to him. Creating the origin of the Cyborg. Like, it was all exactly what I expected from it. And then I heard, some people in reviews talking about it looked bad or, like, they didn't like that part of it. And I was always like, that's exactly how I pictured it this whole time. There's a couple things about, like, as we continue talking about these summer movies and everything that, were just exactly how I expected it, and people had negative reactions to stuff. And I'm like sitting here going, why was that a problem? That was exactly how I expected to happen. Anyway, let's finish talking about Batman versus Superman. I gave Batman versus Superman, the theatrical version, a 6.5.
I give it a 6.
6? Okay,
Yeah,
and
like
you didn't...
It bums me out because I really wanted it to be so much better.
Yeah.
Like, it's the first time we get to see Batman and Superman.
Yeah, on screen together in the same movie, yeah.
And there is that
and not
one
only
shot.
that, also the Wonder Woman, Flash, Aquaman, Cyborg, all these other characters, Doomsday, like all these characters that we haven't seen on screen before, and it was just underwhelming. Like, I wouldn't go as far as saying it was horrible or anything.
No,
I mean,
it wasn't horrible.
6.5. I will say that the Ultimate Edition, I think, is a better movie.
Okay.
It's longer, but it actually kind of doesn't really feel that much longer because of the editing and the flow of the movie is a lot better.
Yeah.
I wanted to give the Ultimate Edition of the movie. I think I'd give that a 7.5.
Okay.
Because I think it's a little better, but it doesn't change anything content wise. It just makes the story make more sense. Lex Luthor's plan makes more sense. You see Clark and Lois as reporters a little more.
I had no idea what his deal was when he put that jar of piss on her.
I got
How would
that.
Nobody notice?
It smells like piss.
A jar of piss that is up there.
I don't know. That's not.
And why didn't she react sooner? Like, if she
Here's a question.
she looks at it and notices, like, I was like, why is she about to throw? Well, shouldn't she stand and be like, hey, this creep,
who left this piss? Here's the thing I want to know: whose piss is it?
Lex. It's Lex.
He pissed in a jar.
Well, yeah, he's not gonna.
Well, I don't know. They made an Ultimate Edition of the movie. It was 3 hours long. They never showed that part.
I think it's implied that he peed.
I think it's important to see that part.
The
movie's already 3 hours long. You can't show Lex pissing in a jar?
Speaking of, like, other little
I'm only halfway kidding, by the way.
I know. It might have made it a little bit more enjoyable to see him, like, kind of mumbling under his breath, like, tell me what to do, piss in a jar.
Granny's peach tea.
It's just like a psychopath. Clark Kent comes in the bathroom. Hey, you alright?
Lex?
Martha?
Clark?
Martha! How do you know that name?
God, we gotta go to the Martha of it all. Which, as someone who's been reading comic books my whole life, that Martha moment.
Did you not notice that?
I guess I never really put together that both of their I knew both of their mothers' names were Martha.
Yeah.
But and the fact that I had never put that together, I kind of liked that human connection moment. And a lot of people hated that, but for me, I'm like, Batman is nuts. He's a guy that for the last 20 years has put on a Superman costume, put on a Batman.
That's why he's nuts.
Has put on a Bat costume and went out and fought crime, got stabbed, shot, all this stuff.
Yeah, why wouldn't he have a mental breakdown if someone else has his mom's name?
His mom, who started everything when she died.
And for real, I got real bummed out. Like in the very beginning of the movie when they did the origin.
Yeah.
When she got shot in the face.
I know.
I was like,
oh my God.
I was like, I don't know if I can watch this. I was like, I'm done.
All right, Captain America Civil War was the next big one. This is where I consider the official start of summer. Captain America Civil War, I think was probably one of my other favorite movie of the year. It was the other one I was most looking forward to, and I think they really nailed it. Like,
I cried so much during this movie.
Really?
Like so many times.
Like what? What were the things that jumped?
Oh God. Name something, I'll tell you.
Black Panther, T'Challa's dad dying.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a big one. Tony finding out about his parents.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Spider-Man. Just saying him. Was that one?
I'm not even kidding. All right, like, you know how like there'll be like title cards of like where they are.
Yeah.
As soon as it said Queens. I just went.
Yeah.
Spider-Man. I was like not like a cool cry, like a real, like a broken man, just crumbling from within.
Because Spider-Man is your number one. Spider-Man. Spider-Man. Spider-Man is your all-time favorite, right? He's your number one guy.
And I had been kind of not really into it anymore because of the
Amazing
Garfield.
Yeah, the Amazing Spider-Man movies kind of.
I don't like this anymore.
Yeah.
Because maybe if Peter Parker wasn't crying every 10 minutes in that movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the last movie, he kind of had reason to.
Not that much.
Well,
what was his reason?
Gwen Stacy died. Spoiler alert.
I mean,
That moment
he was crying the whole movie, though. You can't tell me.
Yeah, he was moping around a lot. That's the problem they have with Spider-Man. They make him really mopey sometimes, and that's always where they go too far with it. And then, like, Spider-Man he does have the weight of the world on his shoulders all the time. He's constantly, life is just shitting on Peter Parker, and that should be part of it. But when he's going around mopey about everything, like, that's when they kind of lose me in the movies.
Yeah,
because they can't quite nail that down on his luck Parker kind of thing cinematically. I don't know why. Maybe because he's always 37.
Right. If he wasn't 37 and still trying to not be late for geometry, maybe,
Yeah. Well, so we finally got a teenage. I mean, he was like 19 or whatever, but a teenage Peter Parker.
I thought he was like 18.
The actor, I don't know, maybe 18, 19 when he shot the movie. I don't know. But yeah, they finally got a young high school age Peter Parker. That's how I always imagined Peter Parker, the high school age. How he was when the comics first began in the 60s, how he was in the Ultimate Spider-Man comic run. And I'm glad that they're going to be spending some time in that. But now, not only is he going to be spending a lot of time in high school, he's also part of the overall MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I think that's what made me cry, was that he's fine. Like, I never thought I'd be able to see him talking to Captain America.
Yeah, and like...
Or Iron Man, or any of them.
Ant-Man, and all these other characters, Black Panther, like, this movie introduced 2 major Marvel characters, reintroducing Spider-Man in the MCU, and Black Panther, who was just as awesome as Spider-Man was in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
He was fantastic. I really liked
his arc so much.
Yeah.
Like how he was all about, like,
I mean, he was like essentially the third lead after Tony and Steve. Like
going, for his whole bit of revenge for his father, and then at the end, when it was the shot of the claws, like, retracting.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I
forget exactly what he said, but something about how, this isn't...
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
Civil War is not exactly the storyline it was from the comics.
No.
But
I'm glad that it wasn't.
Yeah.
Because...
Yeah, but they took the title, and they didn't do exactly details-wise, but they gave it the same spirit, and all the characters were true to the characters. They were all true to the characters from the comics and everything, and overall, that's what matters most when you're seeing these movies adapted for the screen.
In the third act, when Cap and Iron Man are fighting, I really didn't want them to fight.
Yeah.
I was like, stop.
Yeah, like, that's the bummer about it. They're not fighting the villain, they're fighting each other. Which, a lot of people would argue that Baron Zemo's not the best villain. But
I thought he was pretty good.
I liked him in the movie. Yeah, he's not my favorite Marvel MCU villain, but and that is a running thing. Is the Marvel movies, their villain is a lot of times the weakest part of the movie.
Well,
in a lot of instances, but and this movie's so great that if you had to find a weakness in it, it might be that character. But I still really liked him.
Mm-hmm. I did too.
Yeah, and like that the him listening to the voicemail from his family, and then the first time you hear it, you just think, oh, it's just a voicemail.
Right.
They're leaving, like his family's back home, and he's like going off to try to fight the Avengers. And then you find out he listens to the same message again later, and you're like, oh,
right,
that's his only message that he has from them. And then you start and you start seeing why he's like,
I didn't understand it, like that little when they shot that road and like the car crashing off the side, I was like, huh. And then when I was literally like on the edge of my seat, like when Bucky shows, I was like, oh my god, please don't. No, I was like, oh my god, don't, just, bro, don't.
Yeah, that. God,
that made it really hard to. Like, I was on Cap's side going in. Mm-hmm. Still was at the end, but I was like, ooh, buddy, I don't know.
Yeah.
I was like, he's got a
I think I was probably Team Cap too, even though Team Stark had a lot of the characters I liked most.
Yeah.
Which was what I found interesting. Like, Spider-Man and Black Panther were on that side. And Vision, right?
Yeah. And he's a robot, so nobody cares.
I love Vision, though. And there was some nice moments in the movie with Vision and Scarlet Witch as well.
Yeah.
If you're familiar with the comic books, that they have a historic relationship in the comic books and everything. I like seeing that, be nudged forward a little bit more in the scenes where they're in the thing together, and then you find out that he's kind of trying to keep her there.
Yeah.
And stuff. Like, there's so many great... And, like...
I liked Hawkeye a lot more.
Yeah. There's, like, 12, 13 major characters in this movie.
A lot.
Yeah, and this is a movie you can only do as your 13th movie in your universe.
Yeah. You can't start that way.
Yeah, no, you can't. Which is what Batman vs. Superman tried to do and failed at.
That might be it.
Yeah, it's just that they haven't had the proper groundwork. They're just trying to throw everything against the wall at once. But Marvel has been, sticking to their plan, and it's worked. It's paid off, like, huge with Civil War. And I'm assuming it's just going to continue to keep paying off in Infinity War in parts 1 and 2 or whatever they will be called by the time they come out, because they're probably changing the titles around.
Did you think that Cap was going to cut off Iron Man's head?
No.
That shield?
No, but I thought like, he might smash open his
like when he did, like when he like jammed it down into his chest, I was like...
You thought he was going too far?
For a second, I was like, whoa. I was like, easy. God.
So, okay, what would you give Captain America Civil War out of 10?
10.
You give it a 10?
Easily. It was...
Yeah.
It was super entertaining. I cried.
Yeah.
Pretty much the whole thing. Spider-Man's in it.
Yeah. Black Panther.
Got Ant-Man.
Oh, we didn't even talk about Ant-Man.
Ant-Man and Hawkeye doing the thing.
Yeah. I knew as soon as I found out that they were both going to be in the movie, you have to shoot him on an arrow.
Right.
And he has to run around.
Yeah.
I loved him inside Tony Stark's suit. Talking about this is your conscience.
We haven't talked in a while.
And then here's your shield, Captain America.
Yeah.
Or whatever. God. And then of course, spoiler alert if you haven't seen the film. We probably spoiled a lot of this. Not really in too much detail, but when Ant-Man turns into Giant Man.
Right.
Yes. That was amazing. I was hoping all along that we'd see that at some point, and on only his second appearance too. This is only Ant-Man's second appearance, and they used him
Throwing
really
an airplane
well.
at people.
Yeah, it's a small part.
Yeah,
but it has a big impact.
Yeah.
All right, Captain America, 10 out of 10. All right, moving on. Let's talk about what do we have next. All right, let's run through these. Let's run through these because we don't have a lot of time. The Jungle Book. You didn't see The Jungle Book.
I didn't.
It's fantastic.
All right. I might not see it.
You might not see it?
Nah,
But you love Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Who doesn't? It's great. It's really good.
All right.
I went back and bought the I
said all right.
Okay. I give that a 9 out of 10. Moving on. X-Men Apocalypse. We're just moving ahead. You didn't see that either, did you?
No, I'm not excited about those anymore.
Yeah, this is the second X-Men movie
because they just
that
fart
came
around
out
with
this
it
year.
now. It's like they got the name.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I kind of feel for a while there, I feel like, these movies are kind of grandfathered in for me where they have been going with this same series of X-Men movies for so long.
I think it's time to hand it over.
Yeah, it's time to, wrap it up in a neat bow and just go, hey, let this next Wolverine movie is going to be the last one in this universe. The only problem is Deadpool was so great. I don't want to see that end. But then again, they're not tied together really at all. No. Deadpool could continue being its own thing.
Deadpool is the kind of character that can switch studios and then still keep that same.
Yeah, because
he can make jokes about it.
He can break the fourth wall and stuff like he did with the McAvoy or Stewart thing in the movie. I don't know, but Apocalypse, there was some cool stuff in it. There were some cool characters. Like
that was Cyclops.
Quicksilver's great. Cyclops was okay.
How long is he in it?
I mean, he's in it a lot.
Did he shoot a lake and then die?
No, there is a part where he shoots a tree.
Okay.
I thought it was okay.
All right.
Actually, no.
No.
No. It was.
It was shit.
It was. I mean, I gave it a 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
But.
Was it better or worse than Batman Superman?
Worse. Way worse.
Well, then you got to give it like a
3. There was cool.
Or 2.
No, I gave Batman a 6.5. This is getting a 5. I don't know. I like Oscar Isaac. I thought he was good as
him. He's good.
I thought he's good in that character. I like. Let me see. I'll say I like the young X-Men. I like Cyclops, Jean Grey, Nightcrawler, all those. Jubilee I've never really been a fan of the character.
Robin in a raincoat.
Yeah, that was always my joke for her in the '90s. She looked like Robin in a raincoat with Bret Hart sunglasses.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Like the problem with this is I really would like to continue to see maybe that team of X-Men, the young team that we get introduced to, and McAvoy continue on with as, because McAvoy as James McAvoy as Xavier is great. Yeah. He's finally bald now, which annoyed me that was the big reveal in the final trailer. Or in the trailer for this movie,
it's like coming eventually.
If that's the big gut punch you want to leave your audience with in the movie, that he's bald now, then they don't really have a lot to market this movie on,
right?
And Michael Fassbender is also excellent as Magneto.
I thought you were going to say he's also bald.
No, maybe they could continue it on. They're going to. That's the problem. I want to see an X-Men that looks, feels, sounds, plays out
I liked X-Men First Class. I like that one.
Yeah, I did. You didn't like Days of Future Past?
It was okay.
I liked that one, but like, it's all just it can't get to a level of greatness anymore. They're far past the point of no return.
I like continuity, and that's something that they don't do very well.
Yeah. There's a lot of like kind of stuff you have to overlook.
Like the Days of Future Past stuff kind of tried to like erase all the other movies.
Yeah.
To be like, okay, let's start over, but then it just doesn't seem.
Well, no, it didn't really erase. Yeah, I mean, it kind of. Yeah.
It made all that stuff irrelevant.
Yeah, you're right. It made it to the point where some stuff had to. Yeah, I mean, it kind of changed stuff that I didn't like, is the thing. Like, it kind of... I think they've said that the history has kind of erased X-Men Origins Wolverine, which is good. Scrub that from my mind, if you can.
Uh-huh.
The people that died in X3 and stuff were alive again.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, it's good, but we're not going to see those characters anymore. We're not going to see the grown-up version of those characters anymore. We're only going to see the young versions now, and they're probably going to have to be in the 90s and stuff like that. The time period stuff I'm annoyed with. Like,
right.
Yeah, you're right. The continuity is all over the place with these. They just need to do what Spider-Man. Just go back to Marvel.
Yeah, just
make a deal with Marvel and just...
why don't they do the same thing?
Yeah, because Sony is still getting... They're still making money off the Spider-Man deal.
Yeah.
The problem is it's not like they're selling one character like with Spider-Man or like, one character in his universe. They're selling an entire thing that could be its own universe on its own, which is the one thing that is cool about, if X-Men can be in its own universe, because there's so many characters that inhabit that world that it can work.
Yeah.
But it's not working is the problem.
Right.
Anyway, 2 X-Men movies this year. One was a major.
There's 2?
Deadpool.
Oh, okay.
One was fantastic. One was a huge swing and a miss. All right, moving on. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Out of the Shadows. You didn't see it.
No.
Wasn't great.
I might check it out on Redbox.
Yeah, I mean...
Is it worth $1?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's worth a watch. I mean, I gave it a low score, but I gave it a 4 out of 10. It wasn't great. They could have had me with this movie. The turtles are all right. I like the turtles.
I still don't like that they're CGI.
I don't mind that they're CGI. Their design is a little wonky, and it's something I've had to get used to in the 2 movies.
It seems like the way they tried to design them is someone who has no idea what the kids these days are into, trying to make it whatever that is. Do you know what I mean? That's what it seems like. Why are they wearing that many clothes?
Yeah, and like weird like walkie-talkie parts and...
What do you mean walkie-talkies?
I'm pretty sure Leo has like a CB radio kind of unit thing on his strap.
Right.
They have like weird like pins and
why
crazy stuff.
Is Johnny Knoxville still being Leonardo?
No, actually, he's not. They
really?
They didn't do it this time.
Why?
I don't know, because what they did before
they realized that a 45-year-old man doesn't sound like a teenager.
Yeah, the 4 actors that were the turtles on set.
Yeah,
they voiced the characters, but in the first movie, they replaced him, the guy who played Leo, with Johnny Knoxville. They left the guy this time, so it's the guy who. Basically, they didn't redub his voice.
Why? I'd be so pissed off.
If you were the actor and they redubbed your voice? Well, that happens all the time.
Yeah,
Silver Surfer.
But why the second... Well, that's Lawrence Fishburne.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, not wrong to do that. Lawrence Fishburne.
But, why this time around they go, oh, wait, Johnny Knoxville doesn't sound like a teenager, and it
I don't
didn't
know.
sell extra tickets.
This movie did. The weird thing about this movie is I think that they were trying to get it better, to make this movie better.
All right.
There were a lot of things going in this movie. I was like, this movie's got Bebop and Rocksteady.
I like those.
Yeah, I like that we finally have them in the cinematic movies. His first appearance in a movie. Casey Jones, Stephen Amell was playing Casey Jones, which I love that casting. And then went, oh, he looks just like Oliver Queen. He has the same haircut.
Right.
His story is different. He's not a vigilante. He's a cop that is.
Why?
He's like driving Shredder, and they actually have a real Shredder this time.
Okay.
Instead of the white guy from the first one, that was awful.
Right.
This time they actually have a Japanese Shredder.
The first one, didn't they make it the Japanese guy?
Well, you know what it was is they halfway through production
right.
they were like, we need a Japanese guy.
Yeah, because,
and they kind of shoehorned it in there. This one was a little closer, and then the stuff that they do with inserting Krang into the movie really took me out of it.
Really?
And again they replaced the voice or whatever. It was supposed to be Fred Armisen doing the voice of Krang, and then they replaced him with Brad Garrett. No, Brad Garrett from Everybody Loves Raymond. Yes, I give it a 4 out of 10. They could have done a lot better than they did. There was so many opportunities to make a better movie than the first one, and they've dropped the ball in some places. And again, it's just them. I think it's them second guessing themselves a lot of times and changing stuff midway, and then it makes an incohesive movie. Moving on, let's run through a bunch of these because I know you didn't see any of these. Central Intelligence, The Rock and
didn't see it. Probably
Kevin Hart.
will.
It was decent. Okay. It was pretty good. I gave it a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
I think 6 for me. Let me clarify these. Like if it's under 5, I was disappointed. If it's 5 and under, I was disappointed. If it's 6 and up, I liked it enough. I liked it okay. 7 and up, I was really happy with it. And then like if it's 8 and up, I loved it. So 6 is right on the. I liked it. I thought it was all right.
Okay.
Warcraft.
Didn't.
This was kind of disappointing. It didn't make a lot of money, but I actually liked it a lot.
Oh, okay.
And it was what again, like I've said, there's been a lot of instances this year where a movie was exactly what I thought it was going to be, and this movie was. It was exactly what I thought it was going to be, and I liked it a lot. I have played World of Warcraft.
Yeah, me too.
Played it a little bit for about a month. I played it, several years ago.
Yeah.
It's not like I know the world enough to understand everything that's going on, but I thought the movie did a good job of presenting this world to me, and I accepted it, and it was cool. I liked the movie.
Okay.
I give it a 7.5 out of 10.
Okay.
The Shallows, shark movie.
I have no idea.
You don't know what this is?
No.
Blake Lively.
Nope.
Is a surfer.
Nope.
She gets attacked by a shark. She's stuck on a little rock and too far away from the beach to swim to it. So she's stuck out there. It's just a simple shark movie with her out there. It was pretty decent. It wasn't great, but I love those kind of shark movies. Like, started with Jaws, but every weird giant shark, giant sea creature movie. I love those movies because they're just dumb fun. And I thought this one this fit in that category. It fell in. It was pretty decent.
Yeah.
So 6.5 out of 10 for that. This one, I was a little disappointed with the reaction of this one. Legend of Tarzan. It's another one that was exactly what I expected it to be. Everything I expected the movie to be. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Jungle Book.
But people didn't like it. Yeah, it's the same kind of story as Jungle Book. Just he's more grown up now.
Has abs.
But, and the thing that...
There was a Tarzan at Dragon Con.
Was it really?
Yeah, he's just wearing cargo shorts, some abs, and long hair.
Yeah.
That's all it is. That's not much of a costume, bud.
Did he really have abs, or did he draw them on?
No, he took the time.
I like the movie. It's kind of like the same thing with Warcraft. It was a little. I think it made a little bit more money than they were expecting it to make.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it made enough to warrant a sequel, and I kind of would like to see a sequel. Some history. My dad is a massive Tarzan fan. And this movie came out a couple weeks after Father's Day, and I told my dad to come to town on that week, and we'll celebrate Father's Day a couple weeks late and go see Tarzan, which I had a good. Maybe that plays into it. I had a good time at the theater with my dad seeing Tarzan, and I could talk to him after, and he can explain what they did right and wrong and stuff like that, just like I do when I see superhero movies and explain it to him. But I dug it. I've come from a family of Star Wars. I was looking ahead to Star Trek, which is the next movie, but I come from a family of Tarzan lovers, and I liked it.
Okay,
7 out of 10. Star Trek Beyond.
Haven't seen it yet, but I really want to.
Yeah. It should be noted that today, the day we're recording this, as we established the 8th, today is the 50th anniversary of Star Trek. To the T. Like, 50 years ago today. Don't get sued, copyright.
Oh.
I don't know if that's true. But it's the 50th anniversary, and we're talking about a Star Trek movie that came out 50 years after it began. I mean, that in and of itself is a huge feat.
Yeah.
And the movie's great.
Is it?
I really liked Star Trek Beyond.
Okay.
It's not one of the big J.J. Abrams into the world, like crazy big kind of movies. It's a kind of just a simple, like, it's like an episode of the TV show, and it works. It's solid. There's really cool ideas. There's a really cool location that I'm not really going to spoil.
Space.
Yeah. They go to space in this one.
Oh.
But, and great writing from Simon Pegg wrote it.
Well,
we're huge Simon Pegg fans, both of us. And you were
I was Gary King for Dragon Con.
Yeah.
Not a lot of
people got that.
Right.
Yeah, from we should explain Gary King from The World's End.
Like, I was walking around, there's one guy not in like any kind of costume. He looks at me and he goes, "I don't get it." I looked at him and said, "I don't get yours either."
I thought he did an excellent job. He had a little bit more like involvement in the story. You could kind of tell because he wrote it.
Well, yeah.
But
I mean,
he deserved it too because he was great. And it didn't make as much money as the previous two movies did, unfortunately.
Probably because I didn't go to see it.
Yeah, it's all your fault, you asshole.
Minus $10.
I really hope they get to do another one, and I hope they continue. The direction was great. Justin Lin, he did like 3 or 4 of the Fast and the Furious movies. He should continue on with that franchise and keep making them because he's a fan, and you could tell. So I say I would give Star Trek Beyond an 8.5.
Okay.
It was awesome. It was a good time. And a great way to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the franchise.
I'm definitely going to see it.
Okay. Quickly, I don't think you've seen any of these movies. Jason Bourne.
Born Again?
Born Again. Matt Damon's Born Again. It was great. I liked it.
Haven't seen it, but I want to see it.
Yeah, it wasn't the best of the Bourne movies. I had rewatched all the Bourne movies before, and I've always liked those movies, but it wasn't the best of those, but it was really solid film. It was good to see him as Jason Bourne Again. All right, one more before we get to our last one. Don't Breathe. You're not a big horror fan, are you?
Is that the one where there's a blind guy and the other in the
Yes.
I've seen the trailers, and I really hope that the blind guy kills all the stupid teenagers. Number 1, you shouldn't be in that man's house. Number 2, whatever happens to you once you go in there is what you get.
You gotta see it. I'm just saying, dude, this movie is awesome.
Go ahead. You can spoil it for me. I don't
want to spoil it for the listeners because it just came out. I don't want to spoil it on mic, but I'll tell you what happened off mic because it is, I'm going to say, it's fucked up.
It's what they get. Whatever it is, that's what they get. They should all die.
I'll have to tell you, but it is great. I'm a big horror movie fan, and unfortunately, this was the only horror movie this year that I got a chance to go see.
Okay.
But I'm glad it was this one. Okay. I really liked it. I give it an 8.5 out of 10.
All right.
And, unfortunately, like, this is surprisingly, this has been a great year for horror movies. Mm-hmm. Don't Breathe, The Conjuring, Lights Out, they've all done really well. And
Zootopia.
Zootopia. And now Blair Witch is coming out. A new Blair Witch movie was a surprise.
That's stupid.
There's a movie called The Woods that was supposed to come out.
Running out of titles.
Well, it was called The Woods, and then it turned out at Comic-Con they revealed that it was actually a new Blair Witch movie. And it kind of, like, stole a lot of attention at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're not a big horror movie fan, so you don't care about that stuff. Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing all the big horror movies that came out this year, and I'm happy to hear that a lot of them are, that they're doing really well, and that a lot of them are really good this year.
You just want to pick it up with Ghostbusters?
Yeah. I don't know why. I had left that one off my list for some reason. I saw it.
Is it because you're Sexist?
No, actually, I like the movie.
No, actually, I'm not sexist.
I mean, it's not. It's not, and I don't think it ever could be hold up to the original.
Right.
Which for a lot of people is a classic.
I've got it tattooed on my arm.
Yeah, I'd say you're definitely a bigger Ghostbuster fan than me.
Okay, I'd say that's my number one.
Yeah, I love it too. But yeah, you're definitely.
Because I don't know about you, but I ain't afraid of no ghost.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. Yeah. So yeah, this new movie. What did you think? What were your thoughts on it?
My only complaints were that it wasn't tied into the other one.
Yeah, I think the movie could have been a lot better, and they wouldn't have to change a whole lot either.
Yeah.
But all they had to do was just set it in the same universe as the other one.
Honestly, that was about it.
Why didn't they do that?
I don't know.
It makes.
I get it. Maybe just trying to like start fresh.
Well, you would assume that the reason they would be doing that is because they're not going to have the original cast in there. But they all cameoed in there.
For a long time, I really wanted one more with the original cast.
Yeah.
And when Harold Ramis passed away, I was really bummed out.
Yeah.
And I was a little bitter when they were going to do the new one without him.
Uh-huh.
And then I let it go, and I embraced the new one.
Uh-huh.
The trailers did it no justice.
Yeah. Yeah, the trailers were just a mess. They were terrible.
And
unfortunately, it ended up fueling the fire more.
The Fall Out Boy theme song is like they were begging me not to like it.
Yeah.
I cried when I heard that song, but not like out of joy.
Not like you did with Captain America Civil War, where it was like touching emotionally, or it was just you were so happy about stuff. No.
I started crying, and I was like, this isn't made for me.
Yeah. You know what? It's not. This movie wasn't made for us. This movie was made for, like, you see those pictures of Kristen Wiig with like, a little girl dressed as a Ghostbuster, and that's who the movie's for.
Right.
My little cousin, my 8-year-old cousin, like, that's who the movie's for.
Right.
But you know what? I ended up liking it.
I liked it a lot. I thought it was.
I liked it. There was, I think it could have been a little funnier in some places. There was something, but there was still great jokes in it. There was stuff that I really laughed at.
One joke that I really liked was towards the end where like the army and the police, they're all like frozen in that one disco move.
Yeah.
And the four of them are kind of walking through, and Leslie Jones just quietly in the background goes, "Why y'all like this?"
Yeah.
I really like that.
You know what? You know what makes me question something? In the end credits, it kind of showed like a dance scene in that moment. Do you think there was originally supposed to be a dance scene there?
Probably.
And they ended up cutting it and just use it for the credits?
Why y'all like this?
Why y'all like this? That's great.
And my other favorite joke was Kate McKinnon comes, blasting down the street in the car, and Leslie Jones says, "What happened? What'd you do to the car?" And she just says, "I fixed it."
Yeah.
Like, don't worry, I fixed it. It's got the logo and stuff on it now.
Yeah, and I thought, like, looking at the trailers, I thought that Leslie Jones was going to be a bit too much.
Right.
I thought her performance would be a little too big in the movie.
Right.
But I liked everything she did.
Mm-hmm.
I liked everything Kate McKinnon did. So I heard some complaints about, like, she's just too cartoony and stuff. Some people complained about that, but I liked it. I thought she worked in the movie. And yeah, I think some of the cameos were a little shoehorned in.
Like who?
I liked Ernie Hudson's. Ernie Hudson was great.
Before when I was like when they said like everyone makes cameo, I was like, okay.
Yeah,
and I saw the trailer where Leslie Jones said, I got it for the car from my uncle. I was like, if you don't make Ernie Hudson your uncle, I'm going.
And they could have done that with they could have made Winston her uncle.
Right.
They didn't have to change that. Like,
it would have been like. Yeah. Also, he could have given her the car, like in the same thing.
I love the bust of Harold Ramis. That was a classy cameo nod to him.
I really liked Janine as the at the hotel.
Yeah,
I don't know why. I just liked her being annoyed on the phone.
Yeah,
because I think one of my favorite lines of hers from the second movie is like they're coming into the scene, and she's on the phone. "I'm sorry, we're booked through the new year." Well, then just don't go in there.
I liked her in it. Dan Aykroyd's was a little.
I liked it.
Yeah, I don't know. I
ain't afraid of no ghost.
Yeah, and then Bill Murray's cameo. I think
was a little weird, but
it was a little underwhelming for me. The idea of it, the fact that he's a skeptic, and I love that idea. I think they could have executed it a little better. Could have been a little funnier.
I'd say I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and then Sigourney Weaver was at the end. Yeah.
I thought they were gonna make her mom.
Yeah.
They said she was just like her.
It was like a professor of hers or
like
something.
Like her mentor or something. Like that.
Mentor,
like,
yeah.
Why don't you just go the extra?
Yeah.
Make it her mom. That'd be awesome.
Anyway, the movie was good. It could have been a lot better with, if they had put it in the same universe. I completely agree with that. I don't know why.
I did like that they earned the firehouse at the end.
Yeah, they didn't start off with the firehouse. I liked how they ended up there, and they kind of you're right. I liked that. You know, at the beginning of the movie was that Ghost Corpse logo, and I was like, this could. I'm in favor. I'm rooting for Dan Aykroyd's vision of it just being a whole big thing with tell different stories of different teams, and we'll talk about in a later episode. We ourselves made our own ghost paranormal investigators type movie.
It's not out yet.
So, yeah, it's not out. We're in post-production on that. I love the idea of that being a bigger thing because that's a genre that I want to see more movies in. Like,
I like ghosts.
The super. Yeah, I had a friend who knows ghosts.
Yeah, I don't know if you know that.
Anyway, moving on. What would you give Ghostbusters?
I give it a solid 8.
8.
I really liked it. I want to get it on the Blu-ray.
Yeah, I think it's an extended edition too. That's coming out. I'd give it a 7.
Okay.
I'd give it a 7. Yeah,
it
was
your
solid.
opinion's wrong. So
okay. All right. We didn't even really talk about the trolls and stuff, of all the people hating on that movie before they saw anything of it just because they were women Ghostbusters.
Well, that's the way it's always going to be. Because you can't, I don't know.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate. Like, all the people hacking, like Leslie Jones
That's not cool. Like, what does that have to do with the movie?
Yeah, it's just people not being able to wrap their minds around the fact that it's just a movie, and the movie you love is still there.
Right, I still
have to watch it. I'm still allowed to watch Ghostbusters.
Paul Feig didn't kick in my apartment.
Now, when he does do that,
then
we can organize an effort to take him down once and for all. But let's just wait and see what on that.
What if he did that literally to like 3 people, but nobody believes them?
Like, Paul Feig broke in my house, snapped my copy of Ghostbusters in half, went out and bought another one. He did it again.
He mailed it to me.
Oh, Jesus. He replaced it with his shitty Ghostbusters movie. I don't think it's shitty. That's the character speaking. No.
I like the car.
Yeah, the car is pretty cool. I'm kind of iffy on, like, I don't know if I love or just okay with the fact that the villain, like, spoiler alert, at the end was kind of like an animated version of the Ghostbusters logo, almost. I thought that was kind of interesting. The Slimer thing was a little...
You didn't like Mr. and Mrs. Slimer?
I don't know. The Mrs. Slimer is just kind of...
It made me feel good because Slimer has somebody.
Okay. You sold me on it. All right, one last movie. We were about to talk about it before. Suicide Squad. You didn't see Suicide Squad.
I'd like to see it, but I'm not...
Yeah. You said you weren't looking forward to it as much as you maybe some of the other movies this year.
Right. Because it seemed... Well, I don't dislike Will Smith, but in this, it looked like he was just being Will Smith and not a character. Mm-hmm. I could be wrong, but that's just what it seemed like.
I really wasn't happy when they announced that Will Smith was playing Deadshot.
Right.
And I thought he was really good in the movie.
Okay.
He didn't go too Will Smith with it, to use your
I like Will Smith.
Yeah, I like Will Smith, but as Deadshot, as a character that I love from the comics, from the cartoons, from even an Arrow, I really like the version that they did an Arrow of Deadshot.
Yeah. It
just seemed like a really odd choice, but I liked it, and I liked the execution of that. I think the majority of the characters in Suicide Squad were great. This movie is another example of this movie was exactly what I expected of this movie.
Was there...
Joker was in it about the exact amount I expected him to be in the movie.
I could have done without the tattoos.
Same with Batman. Yeah. Oh, I completely agree. I could have done without the tattoos. I like the idea. I've the grill, the teeth have grown on me.
Doesn't bother me.
It's grown on me, especially because I figured this would be the case all along, and then recently, after the movie came out, the director David Ayer said that that the teeth were knocked out of by Batman,
right.
and like
well,
that.
I could have gathered that.
Yeah, I gathered that too, but it was nice to hear him kind of say that, and that I like that idea.
Movie?
They didn't really mention it,
no.
But then again, Joker's not in the movie enough, and they don't really delve into his whole story enough. It's mostly how he's related to Harley and how basically they wanted Harley in the movie, and you kind of have to have the Joker. I'm glad that they didn't do a movie with Harley and not have the Joker in it at all.
Yeah.
I think some people might have preferred, and I'm not saying I wouldn't be. I would preferred if the Joker was a bigger part of the movie, like as far as like, there's a great animated movie, Batman Assault on Arkham.
Okay.
That's essentially an animated Suicide Squad movie.
I would have thought the Joker would be the
main villain,
the target. Like they're trying to.
It was the Enchantress was the main villain, and she, it was just a whatever throwaway kind of villain for them to go up against, and
I'm real excited to see Captain Boomerang.
I liked Captain Boomerang in it. He was kind of underutilized, I think, a little bit.
Isn't the whole point of it like Amanda Waller saying like, "Hey, how do we stop Superman?" Just in case.
Yeah.
What is Captain Boomerang really gonna do?
Well, you could that could be said about 90% of the team. Like
Harley's not gonna do anything.
Harley's not a metahuman.
Deadshot's not a
metahuman. He's just a really good assassin. I mean,
Killer Croc maybe.
Killer Croc,
yeah. Not really. I mean, he's your best shot, but he's not really gonna do anything.
El Diablo.
What does he do? I have no idea who that is.
I know who he is. He was actually surprising because he was a character that I think a lot of people came out of that movie really liking because they didn't know anything about him. I didn't know anything about him.
Okay.
He's probably the character in that movie that I'm the least familiar with.
Okay.
And I really liked that character in the movie. It was well done, and he was one of the members of the team I could get behind, and he was one of the few actual metahumans.
Okay.
You have Enchantress 2, which would have been part of Amanda Waller's team, so that makes sense. But the whole plot of the movie is that Enchantress goes rogue, and that Amanda Waller can't control her, so the team has to. Their first mission is to take out one of their own, kind of, even though they don't really know her, because the team wasn't assembled yet. But Deadshot was good. Harley was great. I really liked Harley. Joker was good. His performance, I liked. His laugh. You've heard it in the trailers. If you heard it in the trailer, like, I thought it was all right. I mean, Joker will there is no way that anyone. In my eyes, there's no one anyone can beat Mark Hamill's version of the Joker.
No, that's
that we've seen definitive... in the animated,
right?
In the Arkham video games. That's the ultimate version of the Joker for me. So there's no way they're gonna beat that anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And especially if you look at the comic books, like so many different things have been done with the Joker. This is just another version of it.
Yeah, if I look at it that way, I don't know.
Yeah, like Joker cut his face off in the comics in the past couple of years, like.
That means
I'm okay with one with a little bit of tattoos and.
That's somebody in the back. I don't know. Cut his face off. Out. I guess.
Yeah.
Cut his face off. I guess.
I think the one villain of Suicide Squad that I didn't really. My least favorite was Killer Croc.
Okay.
Just because I like Killer Croc to be a lot bigger and more.
Like a CGI.
Yeah. And the whole reason they used Killer Croc in the movie, because what David Ayer said is they originally were going to have King Shark, but he didn't want to do a fully CG character in there, so they decided to go with Killer Croc, and I think he was all right. Mm-hmm. He looked a bit like he did in certain comics. Like there's a great Joker. It's just called Joker. It's a graphic novel, and Croc is in that, and he's pretty much just a big dude with scaly skin and stuff.
Yeah,
and that's kind of the version they did of that. And
see, I thought Suicide Squad was a good idea. Mm-hmm. To like just introduce everyone's villains.
Yeah.
And then that way you don't have to set them up in their next movies.
Yeah, I don't know if they're really doing it that way. Like, it was pretty much mostly Batman villains.
That's not a good idea. Shouldn't you? Wouldn't you want to like take?
Well, I guess
from everybody's.
Well, okay. Spoiler alert for anybody who might not have seen it yet. It did come out kind of recently, and I know you haven't seen it, but you said you don't care if I spoil anything.
Not really.
Deadshot, you do see him get taken out by Batman. Harley and Joker, you see some stuff with Batman there. El Diablo, I believe he was just taken out. He surrendered himself or something.
But who's he from?
He's not necessarily. He's just like a gangster guy, and he's got the ability. Slipknot, I have no idea. He's not really in the movie enough to tell. Mm-hmm. Who am I forgetting? Killer Croc. You don't see a flashback or anything, but Killer Croc is most definitely a Batman villain.
Yeah.
Enchantress, I believe, is she's more the supernatural side of things. I think she might have like Wonder Woman ties in the comics, but don't hold me that. I'm not 100% sure on that, but she just kind of the girl stumbled upon those powers kind of to turn into the Enchantress kind of thing, and wasn't really a villain. And then Captain Boomerang, I was really happy about this. In the comics, Captain Boomerang is a Flash villain. Right. So I was really happy to see that they included, spoiler alert, they included a Flash cameo in the film. Is he in
the suit, or is it just Lightning?
No, it's him. It's him. And then the suit, Lightning, real quick. It's a Flash. It's a blink and you miss it cameo. But it was, I was just, that's all I needed. Yeah. That's all I needed because I wanted Flash to be involved in Captain Boomerang's capture and imprisonment and everything. And so I was glad to see that. Let me think if there's any other big notes I want to include. It was cool to see Batman in the movie and the way he was included, and it was cool to see him from the villain's point of view and stuff like that. He was in it very little, but it was what I expected. And that's the overall thing I can take away is Suicide Squad is not an A-list comic book. Right. And I don't know if the casual movie-going audience knows that. Yeah. I don't know if they're going in expecting like another Avengers or something like that. Yeah. But, someone who's familiar with the comic books, and for the most part, the people that I talk to that are familiar with the comic books got that and understood that. And this is like the DC movies this year it's been a mixed bag as far as the reaction to it. But the one thing that I can say is it doesn't seem like, even me, who I like both Suicide Squad and Batman vs. Superman. I don't love them. I like them, but they can do better. Yeah. And I'm really hoping we see that. And especially because the movies that we have coming up next are more solo movies. Right. They're not big team movies. They're not like Batman vs. Superman where they're trying to set up the Justice League, essentially.
Yeah. Who's next? Wonder Woman and then Justice League?
Wonder Woman's next, and then Justice League, I believe, and then Flash. Okay. And Aquaman.
And then Cyborg?
Then Cyborg eventually, a Green Lantern eventually. There'll be a second Justice League, probably another Suicide Squad. Mm-hmm. Oh, there'll be another solo Batman movie, which we talked about. Yeah. With Deathstroke. I'm hoping Deathstroke is not the main villain, because he's more of a mercenary. Uh-huh. Although, in Arrow, they had a really great thing where he had a personal vendetta against Oliver Queen, so maybe we might see him have a personal agenda with Batman. Mm-hmm. But I'd like to see another, one of Batman's rogues kind of maybe like hire him or something like that. Mm-hmm. So Suicide Squad.
What do you give that?
I give Suicide Squad a 7. Okay. I liked it. I liked most of the characters. I think the main thing they could have done, I think they could have used a better mission. Okay. A better story as far as like what they're doing, what they're going up against. Mm-hmm. It was, and again, like, I think the problem with these movies, like, Zack Snyder shouldn't have had a 3-hour version of Batman versus Superman in the first place. Well, the Ultimate Edition was better, but he didn't need to have a 3-hour version.
But there's animated versions of it that are good. Like, those two meeting for the first time should be a really cool thing, but in this it just seemed like...
I think Suicide Squad, as far as Suicide Squad goes, I think the version of Suicide Squad that we didn't see might be better than the version of Batman versus Superman that we didn't see until the Ultimate Edition came out. Okay. I don't know if they're going to do an ultimate cut of Suicide Squad. Uh-huh. I think there's probably a better version of that movie that exists in some form. But I don't know. Overall, I like the characters. Mm-hmm. I like most of the characters, and that's what's important to me, is that I like the characters. Yeah. And I'd like to see... And overall, of both movies, I like to see this universe continue. Mm-hmm. I'd like to see it improve, but I can see this version of this universe continuing, and I'd like to see...
Yeah. Well, there's room for improvement, which is good.
Okay, so that's all of our summer movies. Just real quick note, there's a couple more movies coming out later this year that we're looking forward to. Like Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange?
Can't wait for Doctor Strange. Can't wait for...
Thor? Is that this year?
No, Thor's next year.
Oh.
I think Thor's next year.
Oh.
Guardians of the Galaxy's next year. Thor's either next year or the year after, even.
It better not be the year after. I'm going to throw something through something.
I think it might be next year. Throw something through something?
Yeah.
In Rogue One, Star Wars Rogue One, I'm really looking forward to that. It was cool, like when I was watching Star Wars yesterday, A New Hope, it was like I just getting more and more excited to see that time period of the Star Wars universe again.
Yeah.
And like, because that's why I love Star Wars Rebels, because I wasn't a huge fan of the Clone Wars animated series.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it okay, but it was set in the prequels time period. It was set between episode 2 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
This movie is set right before episode 4, and it or Rebels, I mean Star Wars Rebels and Rogue One take place right before A New Hope. So I like that it feels, both the show and I'm hoping the movie feel like the original Star Wars movies, and I'm really looking forward to Rogue One. And you said you haven't seen Rebels.
No.
I'm gonna let you borrow season 1. You need to check that out because I think you'd like it.
Well, I mean, as soon as you stop telling me what to do, maybe I'll do it.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. Before we get going, this is gonna be on iTunes, so I do want to say, if you listen to the episode, if you like it, check it out. Leave us a review on iTunes. That helps us out. Helps people find the podcast. So, just give it a quick shot. Even if you don't use iTunes, just to listen to podcasts for the most part, just click subscribe and leave us a review.
That's all you got to do.
Yeah, and
it's not hard.
Like us on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube, The Amazing Nerdiverse.
Again, not hard.
Not hard. It's clicks of a mouse, people.
One click.
Yeah.
How busy are you?
Yeah.
You know what? You don't even have to listen to it all. Just click like and then forget about it.
Hear this? That's all it takes.
That's all it takes.
All it takes. All right.
Selfish, greedy.
We should, at the end of every episode, we should berate the people that were kind enough to listen and make their way to the end of the episode.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, buy a t-shirt when we...
Please support our sponsors. But for real, subscribe, like a video on YouTube, subscribe on iTunes, leave a review, and that's it. Until next time, I'm Jeff Grants.
I'm Steven Tukert.
We'll catch you later in the Amazing Nerdiverse.